It's time to talk the Christmas Day slate.
The early edge.
What do you got, Dave?
Real quick before we get into the Christmas Day slate, I just want to highlight. Oh, it's week 17, not week 16 here. But I just want to highlight a couple of spots that are on the site that we'd probably be talking about if we were doing 2 shows this week. There are 3 bets leading the board, all money lines, all over 60% probability on a team to win, and they're all hitting the sweet spot, the new signal that we've added to the site to show you where the model's finding success over time. And those 3 bets would be the Steelers over the Browns, the Saints over the Titans, Packers over the Ravens. On a real quick surface level, Saints one is the only one that kind of gives me pause, but they've been playing pretty well. Tyler Shuck suddenly second in the Offensive Rookie of the Year race. It's just they've shown a lot more heart than I think you would have expected. So you got 3 bets here, all with an edge, all on the money line, all hit the sweet spot, which is money line bets in this particular edge range, returning 19.7% ROI over 46 bets this season. Anytime you see the sweet spot on site, if you hover your cursor or tap, if you're on the app, which is coming soon, or if you're on mobile, obviously, over the sweet spot signal itself, it'll tell you exactly what the ROI and bet history is for those plays. So there you go. Some early Sunday value that we'd probably be talking about if we were doing 2 shows this week. And Steelers, Saints, Packers, money line. All right, on to Christmas now. First up, let's see. We'll go through these, I think, game by game and just pick out the best angles. We'll cover our spots. I'll pull up the first one, which is Cowboys Commanders in the Commanders Stadium. Here we go. So, sorry, lost my spot in my notes. All right, Cowboys -7 entering here as favorites. Over-under is 50.5. Kind of saw that bounce a little bit. I think I saw it 48.5 earlier. That has risen up. But 2 teams with absolutely nothing to play for as far as the season's concerned, except for their shared hatred of one another in this rivalry. Cowboys dominated this game in the first meeting. Jaden Daniels left early. It was the first action I believe Marcus Mariota saw this year. And now he injured his hand in Sunday's loss to the Eagles. Didn't practice today. Trending towards not playing, I would think. So that would put veteran Josh Johnson in line to start, who came in relief last week versus the Eagles, as he has done for many a quarterback in his 10-year career, playing for 14 different teams. If Mariota plays, I'll say I could definitely get behind this model value +7 on the Commanders. He's shown enough to me to keep it competitive, at least against a very vulnerable defense like the Cowboys. Had the game of his life practically against the Broncos just a few weeks ago. And you're getting a 57% probability and a high value edge on Commanders spread. The Cowboys defense looks like it's been backsliding and it's already been poor. And you just would like to think that guys like Terry McLaurin are going to be able to find success against the Cowboys defense that's led up time and time again good performances to receivers. But I will say, if it's Josh Johnson, I am out on the Commanders in this. The guy's a career backup, drafted in 2008. All right. He's had 5-year, 3-year breaks in his career where he wasn't playing, bouncing between the NFL, XFL, UFL. The man's attempted fewer than 400 passes in his entire career. So it's just not going to get me to jump on a line in week 17 behind a quarterback like that. Cowboys definitely want to close out on a high note here, win their last 2 games, both against division rivals, walk away with some good vibes to the season. I think their ceiling, offensive ceiling anyway, is just simply too high versus the Commanders defense to let Josh Johnson and co hang in this one. So if it's for me, I just say give me the Cowboys -7 and the under. No major lean from the model on the total. So kind of dealer's choice.
Dave, we have come so far from just auto taking the over and the underdog in every Cowboys game this season to concluding with a Cowboys -7 and the under. Take a look at our personal growth along the way as this journey has unraveled. But I totally agree. I want no part of Josh Johnson at this point. I can't even remember his name, Dave. He's been in the league for 20 years, and he's done nothing noteworthy enough to me to know his last name. Let's move on to the next Christmas game. This one is my Detroit Lions. Or wait, do you have prop stuff that you want to go through for the Cowboys first? Excuse me.
Yeah, let me just hit a couple quick things, just some notes that I took. Again, it's not going to be a lot of stuff here because if you can't even find Commanders receiving lines, I think so. You're not going to get a whole lot of early value. There is a bunch of TD value in this game, I will say. We got Pickens gets value at 2+ for the Cowboys. Terry McLaurin is 1 and 2+, I believe. Yep, here he's 1+. 39% +210, not bad at all. Chris Rodriguez, 50% and +121. So you're getting some really nice value there. Debo's got an edge. There is a nice sweet spot prop for Dak, over 22.5 passing completions. He's cashed this in 6 straight before last week, 10 total times this year. Woo! A pretty good spot, 58%, -115. High value edge and a sweet spot. Could certainly see them trying to pass their way and just put up the points in this game and the year on a high note, as mentioned. Quick look at the projections. We got Javonte Williams leading the rushing at 80 yards. He's plus money for 80+. And just we won't know this until we get any injury updates, but Jake Ferguson might see a little uptick in this one. He's been kind of quiet in the second half of the year, but Ryan from Illinois is questionable, which is going to open up Jake Ferguson back again as the third primary target. He scored a pair of touchdowns versus Washington in the first game. Got him for 44 yards and a 33% TD probability. Certainly think he is a guy with upside in this one.
Yeah. Yep. I would love to back a Commanders receiver or the entire receiving room like I always do against the Dallas secondary, but with Josh Johnson, I just can't talk myself into it. Flournoy's been fun to watch his emergence. I love the Dak sweet spot. That's probably the only prop that I'll be seriously considering for Cowboys Commanders. Unfortunately, I mean, we're still going to have fun betting it, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately for NFL fans, it's not the sexiest Christmas Day slate of all time with all these quarterback injuries, which leads us to Lions Vikings. JJ McCarthy has been ruled out for this game. So, hey, why not? Max Brosmer, come on down. It's Lions -6 in what is presumably a must-win game for Detroit, but I don't know what to expect from my team. Can you help me make sense of this?
Yeah, we're going to try. I will just – McCarthy was ruled out like within the hour before we started the show. So a little small caveat to the predictions we have as things are going to be updating over time here. And I think it's actually caused a little bit of a hang up here because technically this Vikings money line should have an edge at 44% and +225, but we're probably in the middle of some transitional stuff here. So keep an eye out for that, at least a little closer. Maybe even by the end of the day, we'll probably see some more updates here. But regardless, you got a tough spot for Minnesota, whether it was McCarthy or Brosmer. Look, McCarthy, he's won 3 games in a row, and it was a really rocky game for him on Sunday, though, until he broke his hand, which came out right before the show. Hairline fracture, completed just 9 passes despite the win over the Giants, but that wouldn't have been enough against a better team than the Giants. And now you're putting Max Brosmer out here, who threw 4 picks against the Seahawks, including one that you could tell he's definitely watched Carson Wentz play because it was a truly fascinating, like, I don't know what he was doing. He was like getting sacked and decided to throw it backwards. Not unlike the Mark Andrews pitch on Sunday, which was another just mind-boggling move we've seen from him. But it's going to be a much better spot for Detroit against Brosmer, obviously. Personally, I was going to be on the Detroit side of this anyway. Models lean for Vikings +6 is only at 51.4% and has a negative edge. It's probably honestly +7 now. I saw it in a couple books, and I think if Brosmer's definitely playing, it's probably going to settle in around there. Do think it's interesting that after the news, it only moved 1 point. That they're set, maybe they were already cooking in McCarthy not playing, probably. But either way, the Lions need to win this one for the vibes, for a bounce back. 3 straight losses or two in a row? This would be 3 straight if they've lost it, but they've traded wins and losses for about the past 7-8 weeks, and they also need to end this season on a high note, even if they can't make the playoffs. If they want to make the playoffs, they need Green Bay to lose their final 2 games, but they have to win theirs, and it starts here. I think they're going to go pretty hard. in this game. I just can't really get behind Minnesota here with Brosmer. I'm glad the model's not showing like a big probability that we kind of have to talk our way around, like in Commanders, which is tied to Marcus Mariota at least, but just really hard to believe in them with a desperate Lions team and a third string QB.
Yeah, it'd be a lot different with a healthy McCarthy, that's for sure. I've talked about his Tebow-like tendencies to just spiritually win games he doesn't deserve. Hard sell for me with Brosmer. I watched way more Max Brosmer preseason football than one man should ever willingly admit on a podcast. He's terrible. He's really, really bad. And I it's weird because this Detroit team, I'll be honest, I don't think there's going to be much inspiration. I could be wrong, but I think the way they lost that game at home to Pittsburgh is just a knife through the heart. I mean, yes, Green Bay could lose 2 down the stretch here. Yes, you could win out. It's weirdly like a look-ahead spot. They're going to Ben Johnson at Soldier Field in the final game of the season. Even if the Bears have nothing to play for, he's going to want revenge and to slam the door shut on his former franchise. And they're just a better team than the Lions right now. I think this is kind of let last week's loss linger spot for Detroit, which leads me to some props that I will be playing. But I'm going to let you survey the land first and see if we land on where I'm headed with how to bet this game from a prop perspective.
Yeah, well, here's one that I'm not on, Justin Jefferson. I talked about it last week going back to the well. The lines were actually not better than I thought they would be after that game. So the value wasn't super great, but he did get 85 last week. And it's not something I'm touching with Brosmer under center. So forget that for me. One I am on, Aaron Jones and TJ Hawkinson receiving yards, if the lines are good. Brosmer getting the start right before the show, took the lines down. So don't have anything to reference right now as far as the lines on the books. But we've got TJ Hawkinson for 33 yards, Aaron Jones for 13 receiving yards. Definitely going to be some dump-offs by Brosmer. When he got that start last time, Hawkinson caught all 6 of his targets for 59 yards. Aaron Jones caught 4 for 22, both receptions and yards. Probably going to find some plus money chances without having to go too high up a ladder there. Touchdown wise, Amon-Ra 50% plus money. He gets an edge for 2+ as well, 16% plus 850. We'll touch on that a little bit more. But if there's a single player I'm looking at in this, it's Amon-Ra or Jameson Williams. I think from a receiving perspective, 65 receiving yards for Jameson Williams. Any sneaky prop value? Touchdown for JMO plus 195, 37.6. Like I mentioned, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So a few options here. Jahmyr Gibbs 3+ tutties got an edge. Wouldn't surprise me if he's got one more in him this season. Vikings rushing defense has been really bad lately, so if there were ever a time for him to do it late, it would be in this one. 11% plus 1,500. That's very substantial. Should be only plus 900 there.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to see more and more Jahmyr Gibbs. Also, just on the Amon-Ra stuff, if he is healthy, I totally agree that plus money with Amon-Ra is almost a must bet week to week right now. He was on the injury report coming off the conclusion of the loss last week where, he had a couple plays he kind of got crunched up on in the final minute and was trying to gut through it before the final play where he was a yard short. I probably wouldn't touch anything from a Detroit perspective in this game, truly. What I am interested in touching here is Aaron Jones props for Minnesota. I think we just saw one of the worst rushing offenses in the league in Pittsburgh run all over a banged-up Detroit defense. You listen to the leader of that locker room, Aiden Hutchinson. He's just like, I don't know what's going on. I have nothing I can say about this. Jaylen Warren broke off multiple 40-yard runs. To me, Jones is a workhorse. He's a workhorse even if J.J. McCarthy was healthy in this game. you assume the backup quarterback in, they might just go all in on the ground game against a Detroit team that cannot stop the run right now. I think the only thing for me in this game, given Detroit's uncertainties, is going to be backing Aaron Jones, possibly a ladder play on the ground. Won't surprise me whatsoever if he approaches 100 yards rushing in this game.
Interesting. That would certainly be a look. I mean, he's taken it over from Jordan Mason, who's totally regressed into, the RB2 that he is. And like you said, Jalen Warren, last week had multiple explosive runs, and Kenneth Gainwell with the freakiest deep ball touchdown catch I've ever seen that helped kill me in fantasy. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's got multiple angles.
Yep. Okay, one more Christmas game to get to here. This one is the Broncos and the Chiefs. Once again, a game that would have a lot of sex appeal if Patrick Mahomes was healthy. Instead, we have a dead dog Kansas City Chiefs team and Denver Broncos team that I think should roll here. What do you see?
Yeah, absolutely think they're going to roll. Minus 12.5 point favorites, steamed up to 13.5 for the Broncos in some places. That would make Kansas City the largest home dog they've been in franchise history. So uncharted waters here for sure. Over under of 36.5. The totals just keep getting lower as we go through this slate. Last I checked, Dimer's model is 50-50 on the total. Slight 52% probability lean on the Chiefs plus 12.5. You are getting almost even money there. But if it weren't for that, you wouldn't even be getting an edge. Huge 91% money line probability for the Broncos, of course. Yeah, Chiefs are sending out quarterback Chris Oladokun for his first start, basically first NFL game action, except for last week, since he was drafted in the 7th round by the Steelers in 2022. So,
Dave, I'm convinced he's a computer-generated player. I've never heard of this human being.
It's just AI coming to fruition here at the end of the NFL season. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it's surprising to me that the Chiefs, I mean, it's the third string, but really? I mean, that's crazy that we are starting someone who's never played basically since he was drafted. So, really no idea what to expect here. But safe to say, fantasy-wise, if you're in it in the ship and somehow have Chiefs players, I wouldn't be playing them, that's for sure. Maybe Travis Kelce is a safety net, but I just think Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and the old guys want to go home at this point. The season has been really rough for the Chiefs. You can't tell me they're coming in inspired. Gardner Minshew, did not tear his ACL, fortunately. But he's just such a likable guy that him getting injured is also a blow of morale to this team, even though he's just the backup. This team is just down bad right now. And you got to wonder, how are they even going to score in this game? 10, 13, and 9 points the last 3 weeks. That 10 points was with Pat Mahomes playing against the Texans' elite defense. So I just don't think you can expect much of anything from here. There's no lean from the model on the total. So I would say give me the under. We've seen Broncos games be incredibly low scoring this year. I don't think the Chiefs are scoring more than 10. I don't think the Broncos are going to bother scoring 30 in this game. And you've got the Chiefs, plus 12.5 at just 52%. Again, if this was a high value pick, I could probably talk myself into it. But if you can get the 12.5, I'm probably leaning on the Broncos side of things here. We got 3 games with quarterbacks, backups, and barely starting in their entire career. So just kind of hard to get around any of them or any of these totals.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to find props in the Kansas City game, especially from the receiver room, right? With the new quarterback in, you can barely even bet on Chiefs receivers at this point. So I don't know. What are you looking for? Is there anything you even want from a prop perspective in this game?
I mean, I'd probably have fun just slamming basically every Chiefs starter under if they existed, but they don't. So, I mean, you got Rice capping out at 46 yards, Worthy at 33, Travis Kelce at 32 behind him. I'm just not going to find many appealing angles for these guys. They're probably going to have lines that are too high to be worth playing because of the pedigree. Rushing wise, we do project Pacheco for 40 yards exactly. He's plus 120 for 40 plus, so little bit of an edge there. But Can't say I find anyone appealing to score on Kansas City's side at all, of course. Broncos side of things, I do really like RJ Harvey in this game. Chiefs gave up 102 and 52 rushing yards to Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears last week. 61 to Hampton in week 15, 68 to Woody Marks in week 14. Harvey's been rolling 5 touchdowns in his past 4 weeks. Yardage totals of 65 and a career high 75 in that span. Should have room to run in this one. Broncos, I mean, they could try to get up big early, bombing it out to Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin and whatnot. But I think there's a better chance they just hand it off to RJ Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, maybe at the end of the game, and just kind of let them run down the clock, run their way to some scores. 16.9% for 2 touchdowns, plus 500. That's fair odds. 52% to score. I think he was like minus 115, so it's not even very juicy. Harvey looks like a pretty fun play in this one for me.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty from all parties involved. Teams that wouldn't mind a loss on Christmas Day, teams that are breaking in third-string quarterbacks with no hope on Christmas Day. It can be boring. It can be ugly. It can be chaotic. May I propose maybe the most chaotic, evil way to possibly bet the Christmas Day slate?
Yes.
Okay, we kind of floated this a couple weeks ago, and we got real creative, and it totally fell on its face. So caveat, this is me stretching and being creative.
I know what you're talking.
Can we bet every defense to score against these terrible quarterbacks?
It's not a bad idea. Little defensive round robin. I thought you were going to go with the 2+ picks after the golf one we talked about on our own.
Yeah, we tried
those guys through one.
So my fear there is I think we could even see, like I said, with the Vikings, maybe they don't even throw the ball. But
yeah,
I was watching this Colts game last night, and I was obviously, you and I live bet. We do our best to keep a pulse on things the model likes, and we'll text each other from time to time. I was watching this game stretch out. Phillip Rivers down 2 scores. He's, at his own 5-yard line. And I thought about firing off a San Francisco defensive touchdown live bet because you could tell Phillip was starting to throw some throws he didn't want to throw in a normal game script. Sure enough, 70-yard pick 6 to put the nail in the coffin. Who's to say we're not going to see this? If the Commanders trot out Johnson, if the Vikings have Brosmer, and if the Chiefs have the guy I still don't even know how to pronounce his name for, could we round robin Cowboys defense special teams, Lions defense special teams, Broncos defense special teams, a 3-pick Christmas Day defensive touchdown round robin? It is 206 to 1 if you wanted the 3-leg parlay, but I'd have to imagine just a quarter unit on the 2s round robin might be one of the more fun bets we could make.
Yeah, you've sold me, honestly. They're plus 500 for the Cowboys, plus 500 for the Lions, and 475 for the Broncos. It's all pretty appealing to me. It's all about 17% implied probability. Feels pretty good against these guys. Obviously, you're not going to have much data on any of them, but Josh Johnson, I'm sure, has thrown his fair share of pick 6s. Brosmer threw at least 1, or it was a fumble 6. There were 2 fumble returns for 2 defensive touchdowns, both scored by DeMarcus Lawrence in that game. So, why not?
I'm going for it. This is probably the only way I'm betting the Christmas Day slate, but I would have never gotten there if not for our discussions on this very show. So let us know if you want to tail my defensive touchdown round robin on Christmas. Pour some eggnog, tweet at us, and we'll ride together. Dimers Pro is where you can get these insights that fuel these conversations every single week. Reminder, promo code podcast gets you 50% off of our beloved Dimers Pro. You've also got our more traditional round robin here. We've been going with touchdown round robins for offensive players all season long. It was last week where we unveiled our 2 touchdown round robin as opposed to our first touchdown round robin. So are we going with that strategy again for Christmas week?
We are going to go back to 2+ TDs. And it's kind of bit me in the butt last week. We got 1 total anytime touchdown out of our 5 guys to score 2+ TDs, all in really good matchups. It was pretty bleak, but we're going to go back at it here. Look, I talked about some of these guys already, so we're probably not even going to get too deep into it here, but I'll pull it up. We'll go through it. Please admire my Christmas colored theme I put on this graphic.
Love
if
it.
you're watching, thank you. RJ Harvey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and George Pickens, 2+ touchdowns. We talked about all three of these guys already, so not really going to break them down much further than that. But just to recap, we have an edge on both Amon-Ra and George Pickens to get 2+ TDs. So you're already getting value on them as standalone bets. And RJ Harvey is the highest probability on the slate with the exception of Jahmyr Gibbs, and is totally or like right at fair odds at 17% and plus 500. So you're not overpaying for any of these guys. You're getting a little bit of value. You can mix this up as a first TD if you'd like. You get similar odds and probabilities. George Pickens, I believe, was also plus 850. Harvey, I think, was 475 for first touchdown, and Amon-Ra was plus 850. He might have even been better for first TD. And I will mention, you have to bet responsibly and only what you can afford to bet on long shots like this. But since it's only 3 players, you could split what you might normally put on the round robin between a 2+ and a first TD if you want. Just a few different ways to use this data. If you want to keep it to just a little anytime TD parlay, I didn't check the odds, but RJ Harvey's minus 115. Amon-Ra's, I think, plus 125, plus 115. Pickens, I think, was plus 125. So you're going to get pretty nice odds there as well for a little 3-legger. But all of them in solid matchups. All of them should have their chances. You just got to see him find the end zone twice.
And even better odds than my floated defensive touchdown round robin. So there you have it. Multiple ways you can go about this on Christmas. Fingers crossed that we can deliver some winners for you.